Good deal. Okay. Maxim number 55 through Chateau Heartiste. Usually I try to put this up at around 5 or 6 in the morning, and I was going through it last night and accidentally put it up last night, probably around 11 o'clock. So it's had some reactions, and it's a good one. It's not all of the Maxims. I mean, some of them are kind of esoteric. You kind of have to read, you know, some of them are very specific to a situation that Chateau was writing about, but this is very general, and it's very much just in line with our philosophy of more is less when it comes to game. Maxim number 55, and there's around 200 of these. Less talking is always sexier than more talking. If you struggle to find something witty to say to a girl, stop trying. Flailing for the right words is approval-seeking beta behavior that women can sniff from across the room. Corollary to Maxim number 55. A grunt or aloof gesture trumps a try-hard, strained, verbose comeback. Chateau Heartiste. Less is more. Talk less. Text less. Call less. When you do interact, use fewer words. It should be like a 3-to-2 ratio or 3-to-1. For every 3 words she uses, you use 1. When you're texting, on the left-hand side, it should look like big blocks of text where she's responding to you and you're saying, okay. Or you just feed her the next question, and then you get a big block of text which shows that she's investing in you. The less you say, the better. Again, girls fill in. They like men, and studies have proved this. Women like men whose feelings for her are unclear. They find mystery. That's why they like vampire movies, serial killer documentaries. They like the unknown. They love emotions, and anything that's unpredictable creates emotion. And that's why you always go, why do they like Twilight or all these weird vampire and werewolf and strange science fiction fantasy books and shows? Because there's mystery there. You know, some guy just shows up, you know, and out of nowhere, and they've been missing him. They've been thinking about him. They've been wondering where he's at. And you do the same thing when you use less is more. When you talk less, it's always sexier than more talking. Again, even think of like James Bond, and I like that Coach Corey Wayne always uses him. You don't really think of him as talking. You see him either like lighting a cigar or smoking a cigarette at a blackjack table or playing poker, but he's not chatting. He's not jibber jabbering, and he's not texting, you know, like a teenage girl. He's not saying anything. He's just moving through the world on his mission, for lack of a better word. I always think that makes me laugh. But he's doing his job. And that is sexy to women, guys that are actually focused in on something other than her. So less talking is always sexier than more talking. You know, you cannot go. That's why you need to get good at asking questions. And I think in my How to Build a Dating System, I have 2 pages, maybe 100 questions that you can use as like to start a conversation, basically. And I carried this list around with me on first dates for a long time. And if I had to, if I found somebody, either I got really nervous or they were just a little bit less, you know, girls take time to warm up, I'd have to go to the restroom or bathroom and like get a couple lines and just then feed them to her and get her talking. So again, girls, the most interesting thing in the world to a girl is herself. Only second to that, and this is for guys that are a little bit older, is her children. If you ever run out of things to say, if you ever feel a lull and you're like, you know, and you need to buy time, ask her about her children. Women love to talk about their children. It's the most important thing in the world to them. And they will effusively, if they're healthy moms, will start talking, you know, and that's the real deal. So that will buy you time to find something that's a little bit more interesting or sexy but it does buy time. And I've never seen it fail, at least not for me. But again, when women are thinking about you, when they're fantasizing, when they're away from you, that's when they become more attracted to you, wondering about the what ifs or the could be's, or, you know, they will, and Bunny's good about describing this, they will build an entire fantasy life of you, of who you are, simply in their heads with just a few pieces of information. And she can't do that if you give away the store. If you tell her everything she could ever want to know about you, you know, you should give her some information. Don't be autistic, but you don't have to just chat, chat, chat. Let her talk. Gather, and you will seem more interesting when she talks about herself the whole night. You just have to kind of be ready for astrology and stuff like that. You know, there's going to be chick talk. So less talking is always sexier than more talking. If you struggle to find something witty to say to a girl, stop. Flailing for the right words is approval seeking. Again, remember, you're qualifying her. That's where you need to have like 2 or 3 key questions that you can use as a fallback. Get her to talk about herself, because you are, at the end of the day, you've got options. You're qualifying to see if you're interested in spending more time with her, not is she, can you get her approval? You flip the script. Again, approval seeking beta behavior that women can sniff from across the room. She'll be able to feel that, and women hate the smell of a beta. It'll cause them to run the other way. Just like a dismissive grunt or dismissive, you know, hand gesture. Well, in that conversation, you can start up a new line. It beats any type of verbose comeback. You know, don't try to brag. Don't try to one up. And again, if you have stories that display higher value, make sure they fit with what you guys are talking about. Don't just drop them in from the air. They won't hit right. Again, the less you say, the better. Women love strong, silent men. You need something to work with. You can't just go in there and be mute. But even when I would ask girls, like, what was your worst date? Quite often, if one, he would show up drunk. That's the number one thing. They're always showing up already drunk. And the second one would be, he talked about himself the entire night and I never got a word in. And that's not doing yourself or her any favors. So again, less is more, especially when it comes to talking and when you guys are getting to know each other. Let her carry the ball, and that's the real deal.